Chicago Bears news and rumors coming at you. We got Jay Rodgers for the new DC.
This is a trendy candidate right now, and I talked about this on our Bears channel, youtube.com/BearsNow, obviously, about some potential replacements for Chuck Pagano, who retired. He was on the list. I think he's the top internal candidate, Mitch, if Chicago does decide to promote from within and not hire an external candidate. There's obviously a lot of external guys out there that I think they would and should consider. He's done a great job, and he has a lot of fans within the building at Hallis Hall. And if we've learned anything the last couple of weeks, they like their guys, meaning George McCaskey loves Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. It's a family unit. Whether or not they've done a lot of winning on the football field, this is a tight-knit group. Jay Rodgers has been around for a while. He was under Vic Fangio in 2018 when that Bears defense was outstanding, and he's done great work with the D-line. They had Eddie Goldman opt out like a month before the season, and he was able to get guys like Bilal Nichols having 5 sacks this year. He's done great work with a guy like Mario Edwards, who they signed early in the season. He's a player's coach as well, energetic guy. I think he would be a great hire. You look at this Bears defense in 2020, Mitch, decent numbers, but like this is not what you're accustomed to seeing. 25th in takeaways. That's not a Bears defense I recognize. I recognize a team that's getting after the quarterback, taking the ball away. Chuck Pagano got a little bit stale as this defensive coordinator. I'm not dismissing him as a coach. He's done a lot of good things in the NFL, but he was the king of bring 4 and drop 7 into coverage. We're not going to change. The Bears need a more aggressive mindset at their defensive coordinator position.
So go ahead, type your votes down in the comments section. Should Chicago make Rodgers the DC? Type 1 for yes, or go down and type 2 for no. Harrison, are you going to go 1 or 2 here?
I'm okay with it. I think they should interview some other candidates. I'll lean 1 because I would like it, and if you don't promote them, you might lose them. So I'll type my 1, but I do think there should be some other candidates to consider as well. And like I mentioned, just to build off that point, Mitch, they need to get more aggressive. They need to blitz more. They need to do some corner blitz. They need to do more disguises in their coverages. Like I said, Pagano, good defensive mind, good coach, but he's a boomer. He retired for a reason. Like, he got too stale as a defensive mind. Vic Fangio, aggressive-minded DC. That's why the Bears were excellent in 2018, because they were able to get after the quarterback, like you see here, and they led the NFL in takeaways, Mitch, by 5. They had 36 takeaways, next closest team 31. That's a significant margin there, and that's an area the Bears have struggled the past couple of years. Still a good defense, still get a lot of stops, but taking the ball away in 2020 and 2021, that's how you're successful on defense, getting those short fields, getting those defensive points from time to time. I think that is the direction I would go in. Take some chances. Blitz a little more. Yeah, you might get burned sometimes, but that's okay because teams in today's NFL, they can score. That's just how it works. It's about getting those turnovers. So I think Jay Rodgers could do that.
The issue, though, with Chicago back in 2018, 2018, that offense and Mitch Trubisky, they were actually okay. I think one of the biggest reasons why Chicago's defense struggled a little bit more than what we've used to.
Yeah.
They were just on the field the entire time, and I'm not really going to put too much blame on Chicago's defense because when you look at the numbers, you might not see statistically a top 10 defense. That Bears defense is a top 10. I would even argue top 5. If they're not on the field the entire time, if their players aren't totally gassed and winded from being out there the entire game, totally different.
I totally agree with that, but this is still a team that couldn't force turnovers.
Yep.
Like that's not just a being tired in the second half thing. There's some schematic problems, not mixing up your coverages enough and not blitzing hardly at all, like literally bottom 5 in the NFL in blitzing. So I think there's slight changes. I'm not saying you change the whole defense. This is still a great defensive team. I just think be a little bit more aggressive. I think Jay Rodgers could be one of those guys. I also did a video, like I mentioned, on 5 potential candidates, including Rodgers. You can go check that out on the channel, youtube.com/BearsNow. I think a more aggressive mindset defensively, fine-tune a couple of things, this defense will be top 5, top 10 again in 2021.
So go down in the comments and predict the Bears record in 2021. This is obviously a team that's got basically all the pieces right there on defense, at least I believe. Offense, what are they going to do with a guy like Allen Robinson? Who's going to be the quarterback? Those are the major questions. If you guys are curious about more Bears news and rumors, go subscribe to the channel. You see the link below, youtube.com/BearsNow. But go down. Let us know. Predict the Bears record in 2021. NFL fans, get yourself an NFL face covering. Hey, it's getting cold in January, no matter where you are. Woo. And not only can you look good, these things keep you really, really warm. So go to chatsports.com/stay safe. They come in packs from 1, 2, 3 to 4. And all we're trying to do here is make sure that we can go live normal lives and watch some normal NFL playoff games. Because, man, if there is one thing that I miss, it is that playoff atmosphere. So all we always try to do here at Chat Sports is find you all great deals, but also let's be smart. Let's do the right things. Go go get yourself an NFL face mask. All 32 teams, again, all these sizes, it's basically one size fits all, and they're machine washable.
Yes.
Do the right things. Wear a face mask. It'll be in the comments section below and in the description. Chatsports.com/stay safe. Let's get into the latest around Deshaun Watson and as a potential trade coming. Harrison, walk me through this Watson saga.
So there's a lot of stuff going on around Deshaun Watson, and that doesn't even include the fact that apparently there's a march set or scheduled in Houston to support their quarterback. He said, don't do that, COVID's high here. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the latest on a possible trade. Adam Schefter on Sunday said there's a growing sense that Watson could be done in Houston across the league and within the Texans organization too. And I think the second part of that note is key. Obviously, Mitch, he's unhappy. Obviously, I think he wants out at this point. Now, Ian Rappaport says he hasn't officially demanded a trade, but I think that's more because he hasn't talked to the Texans at all. He's just doing whatever the hell he wants right now. And Rappaport did add that they're actually getting some calls on Deshaun Watson from some teams.
I mean, which should surprise nobody. It's not too often that you got a quarterback of his caliber at his age. And I would say just about every team, maybe minus the Chiefs and maybe the Bills at this point, would be extremely interested in going out and getting a player like Deshaun Watson. But for me, I mean, we'll try to track what happens here. This is something that I never thought in a million years would ever happen. But we have seen in the NFL, especially with a guy who has a no-trade clause, he holds a lot of power here, and he's going to be able to pick his destination. It's why we made a video ranking from 31 all the way down to 1 for potential Deshaun Watson trade destinations. A lot of people are calling.
Yeah, and this is coming from Schefter as well, just more on this. The growing sense from people in and around the Texans organization that Watson has played his last snap on the team. It's early in the offseason. There's a lot of time left, but Watson's feelings cannot and should not be underestimated. And keep in mind, he's got a no-trade clause. So if a trade does happen, he could have some power on what his next stop is going to end up being. And there's already odds on this, Mitch. And I find this very interesting. The Jets leading the way at plus 200, Dolphins at plus 300. Those wouldn't be the first two teams I would put on the list, although I think the Dolphins are interesting.
A lot of draft capital, a lot of money to spend, and then the Jets with the number 2 overall pick, that's a lot of, capital as well.
I think the Bears make a lot of sense. Ryan Pace can right that wrong from 2017 when he drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson. I'm intrigued by that. The Broncos and Colts coming in as well. Obviously, you have the Patriots, the Eagles, a few other teams. Got your Raiders down there at plus 1,200. I don't think that's super likely. I think those first 4 or 5 teams are the ones that make the most sense. I think the Patriots are a dark horse, by the way. I think that would be interesting.
But if I'm Deshaun Watson, why would I want to go to the New England Patriots?
No weapons.
I get that they're the Patriots. Yeah, there's no weapons there. And if there's a team that I am really looking at, I would be looking at a team, maybe even also like the Saints. We'll talk about Drew Brees coming up here in a little bit, whether or not he's done.
Money's a challenge.
The Carolina Panthers would be a very interesting team. I mean, you want to think about all those offensive weapons, and then, some of those other teams we mentioned. I mean, it's going to come down to, I think, ultimately the best fit. So go down in the comments right now and try to predict. Look into that crystal ball and try to make some sense of this, and let us know where will Deshaun Watson end up playing next season. All right, Harrison, why do the Bears make too much sense?
I just think this is obvious. If you're the Bears, this is your offseason. Re-sign Allen Robinson and go try and trade for Deshaun Watson. Look, the Texans might say, suck it, we're not trading him. But you should try and make it happen if you are Chicago. Now, I mentioned that no trade clause. If you're Watson, I want Allen Robinson on board. So that's a key if you're Chicago. You got to get him back on board before you can make a swing at Watson, in my opinion. If I'm Deshaun Watson and I'm trying to clear a trade, I'm not going to a team that has Darnell Mooney as the number 1 receiver. Allen Robinson, though, and Darnell Mooney? David Montgomery running the ball? That defense? That's something pretty intriguing. I think it makes a lot of sense if you can get Allen Robinson on board. Obviously, there's other teams worth talking about. I think the Dolphins are interesting, Mitch. If they did want to decide and trade Tua, are they ready to do that after 1 year? That's an interesting proposition as well.
I mean, the Dolphins, you brought up the draft capital. I mean, they have 4 picks in the top 50. They also have 3 picks in the top 36.
Got Tua.
Yeah, and
He's
sure,
an
you
asset.
have Tua. However, there's been multiple Dolphins players that have already come out and said, well, not everyone is totally sold on Tua, especially going forward, and that is a major issue, especially after 1 year. But when it really comes down to Watson, I would think about, how can I win a championship right away? Which teams are defense ready? Which teams have a lot of talent around it? Because I am that piece where if I come in to a team that's right there, I can take them over the top.
I have 3 teams.
Go.
Bears, 49ers, Dolphins.
Yeah, those are all pretty solid teams. I'll also throw out this one, and it's a dark horse name. I'm going to throw out a team like the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey. You have 2 great receivers, Robbie Anderson. You also have DJ Moore. And I have a lot of confidence in Matt Rule to be able to really build and continue to get better. And you got Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, and who's the other quarterback in that division? I can't think.
Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady. They're all aging.
They're all 75 years old.
Deshaun Watson could be the future in that division. So what we did last week was we tried to rank every single team's chances of going out and getting Deshaun Watson. If you like videos like this, if you like speculation, if you like news and rumors, we are the channel for you here. So seriously, go check it out. Let us know what you have to think about it. We would definitely appreciate it. But we're an interactive YouTube channel. Obviously, we're live right now, and we go live every single Wednesday and Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. But if you want more videos around news, rumors, mailbags, seriously, hit that big red button.